Now that the table is mechanically complete, I will begin wiring up the electronics. For the wire, I used a 6-foot 16 gauge 3-conductor power cord and cut it into usable sizes. First we'll need a piece about 16 inches long that will go from the controller to the power supply. Strip about 4 inches of the exterior cover off of both ends, being careful not to cut the wires inside. Then strip about a 1/4 inch of insulation off of the wires. Give the wires a twist so they're easy to insert into the crimp-on connectors. For the side that goes to the controller, I use the pin-style connectors. This is not entirely necessary, but it makes tightening the terminals down a bit easier. Give the wires a slight tug to see if they're tight. Next, I'll add some shrink tubing to help secure the connector and provide for a more finished appearance. This helps to distribute any bending along the wire. On the opposite end, you'll want to take a bit more of the wire coating off, as the white wire will need to be able to reach the e-stop button. You may also want to cut the white wire a bit shorter as well. Crimp on the spade type connectors, as these will connect to the terminals on the power supply and e-stop. I will shrink tube the ends as before. Here the first cable is complete. The next cable we'll make is 30 inches long and will go from the power switch to the power supply. We'll also cut another piece that is about 4 inches long. Strip about 4 inches of outer cover off the 30-inch cord. I find that cutting most of the way through is good enough and avoids cutting the insulation on the wires. Strip about a 1/4 inch off the wires and give them a twist. we'll add the spade type connector to the end of the cord that will go to the power supply terminal. I will leave the other end for now, as they'll be combined with the wires from the fans. Strip the insulation off both ends of the white wire and add spade connectors. This will go from the e-stop to the power supply. Now cut the black wire in half, leaving one side slightly longer. Twist two of the ends together and add a female type spade connector. We will use this to wire up the switch. Here are all the wiring harnesses that we'll need to wire up for the machine. Next, I'll mount the fans on the controller cover. Look at the side of the fan and note the direction of the airflow. We want to blow air over the controller. This means that we'll have to pull the wire to the other side of the fan. Feed the wires through the openings and place the fan over the mount holes. Next, add the nuts and bolts to hold the fan in place. Repeat these steps for the other fan. Judge the required length of the wires and trim off the excess. Combine all of the white wires and twist. Add a female type spade connector and crimp. Make sure all of the wires are tight. Combine all of the black wires and twist. Add a female type spade connector and crimp, making sure all of the wires are tight. Next, add a female spade connector to the green wire and crimp. Now we'll snap the power switch into place. Connect the green wire to the lower spade. Connect the white wires to the spade on the right. Connect the black wires to the lower spade on the switch. Now we'll take the Y piece we made and connect it from the live spade to the poles on the switch. Since I did not use the second pole on the switch for the fans, I'll put a spade connector on it for future use. Now we'll run the power from the switch to the power supply. Be sure to select the appropriate power setting on the power supply using the switch. Connect the wires to the appropriate terminals. Black is live, white is neutral, and green is ground. Insert the pin type connectors into the terminal block on the Gecko G540. Green goes to terminal 12, black goes to terminal 11, and white goes to terminal 10. Now we'll connect the controller to the power supply. For clarity, I am inserting the wires into the rear of the terminals. You'll want to wire into the front of the terminal. The black wire connects to positive VDC and the green wire connects to negative VDC. The white wire will connect to the e-stop, so we'll add the short wire to the negative VDC in this step. To disassemble the e-stop, back out the screws that put pressure against the collar on the button. Loosen both of the terminals on the e-stop and connect the white wires. Make sure the charge pump switch is set to on. Now that the electronics are all wired up, in the next video I will remount them into the table and connect all the motors.